Just when the world needed him most, the prodigal son has returned. Ladies and gentlemen, it is your boy Al Johnson, and welcome back to the Al Johnson Show. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is good to be back. And honestly, this is a great day to be back for this beautiful occasion. Now, why is this day so special? Why is January 15th, 2024 such a special day? Well, the second special after the special day, my birthday. But yeah, the second most special day. Well, ladies and gentlemen, on this day in history, we're going to be celebrating the anniversaries of two very popular streaming shows. On one hand, we got Marvel Studios' WandaVision, which premiered on January 15th, 2021 with the first two episodes, live in front of a studio audience, and don't touch that dial. On the other hand, we have the HBO series adaptation of the video game The Last of Us, which debuted January 15th, 2023 with the episode titled When You're Lost in the Darkness. And these two TV shows have had such a significant impact on both of their respective streaming services, but more or less a great impact on the fan culture at large, and had a great impact on me as a viewer. Now, why is that? Well, for WandaVision, let's start with WandaVision. Remember, before January 15th, 2021, we were just coming off of the dreaded year known as 2020. Y'all know what happened that year? I'm not going to get into it. You know. But also in that year, there was no Marvel Studios content. We were a year removed from Avengers Endgame, and the MCU well was dry. There was nothing coming out. Everything was delayed. Now, this was back when the MCU was still popular, but still was lingering like, okay, well, what do we do now? What's next? I mean, Endgame was great. How do we even try to continue on from that? Nowadays, sadly, the MCU is suffering from its downfall, so to speak. But to WandaVision, when the first two episodes premiered of WandaVision, it was nothing like we had ever seen in the MCU, or it wasn't even something that was tapped into. We had Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany return as Wanda Maximoff and the Vision. Two characters who were had big roles in the movies, but not really big enough to where they could lead a project. This was basically their chance to lead a project. And when episode 1 premiered, it was all in black and white. It was in the style of I Love Lucy. WandaVision were married. They had just moved into Westview, New Jersey. There were so many questions that was being asked about what was going on, including the significance of August 20th. And also in this episode, we meet the nosy neighbor known as Agnes, played by Catherine Hahn. If you see WandaVision, you know who Agnes really is. So I'm not going to ruin it here. But like I said, there were so many questions that was going on. Like, what is this world? Is it still the MCU? What's going on? But something significant would happen in that episode. There was a dinner where the boss and his wife came over for dinner. The wife was played by the mom from That 70s Show. And in that scene, the boss and the wife, they were just, asking Wanda and Vision questions like, how long you guys been together? How long have you guys been here? How come there's no children running around? And when the boss, the husband, kept pressuring for answers, he was choking on his food. And something weird would happen. 1 second, you have the wife be all, oh, stop it. Like he's just messing. But then when she looked at Wanda, you could see the fear in her eyes. It's like, stop it. Stop it. Like Wanda is doing something. And Wanda, who before that was putting on her 50s, her sitcom wife voice, that, oh, golly, all that. But then she looked right at Vision and just, Vision help him in her regular voice. And it's like, what's going on? Then Vision used his power to stop the husband from choking. And then it was back to normal. It was like, almost like, don't look over here, nothing to see over here. And it's like, what is going on? And then the episode ends. It's like, what just happened? And there was that. Then in episode 2, we jumped ahead a decade to the 60s in the style of Bewitched, where there was a talent show that's happening. WandaVision was put on a show for the Westview people, and at the end of the episode, there was this thing where WandaVision was talking about having children, and Wanda just out of the blue got pregnant. Nope, just right then and there, pregnant. Like, what? But then WandaVision, they leave the house because they heard like a racket. Like, ooh, what's going on out there? They go outside, and then somebody, like an outsider, came from inside their world, and they were in a beekeeper's costume. It was like, what's going on here? And what's going on? And it was just so weird. Like, there was like this horror feel to it, just like the first episode. Wanda would look at the outsider and just was like, no. And then everything would rewind back to that point where they just found out they're about to have a kid. And then everything turns into color, because in episode 3, which will happen next week, it would be in color, because in the 70s, TV started having color. Not just TVs, but like movies and such. And right there and there, after those first 2 episodes, it's like, okay, I don't know what is going on here, what is going on with Wanda and Vision, but I have to keep watching. Like, something is going on, so I have to keep watching. And throughout the course of the show, there will be so many reveals, so much unpacking of Wanda's sadness over the death of Vision and her brother, and just a whole bunch of crazy reveals. Reveals, pardon me, and just so much happening throughout the show that by the end of the show's run, in the final episode, there was a nice little tying of the bow to what was a phenomenal show. That when it debuted, yeah, the numbers were there. Okay, they were up a little bit, but as more and more people was talking about the show, the ratings kept increasing and increasing to where it was the most popular show in the world, and that was WandaVision. On the other hand, for The Last of Us, this was a project that was in development for over a decade to that point. There was talks about a movie with so many actors and so many studios wanted to release it. One point, it was going to be produced by Sam Raimi, director of the Spider-Man movies, in which it would be like a nice 2.5 hour condensed version of the game. But then we go to HBO and HBO Max, as it was called then, and we get the dad of the internet, Pedro Pascal, and Bella Ramsey, 2 former Game of Thrones actors, playing Joe and Ellie. And over the course of 9 episodes, we get a condensed version of the game, but it was a nice streamlined tale of finding humanity in a world of darkness. But episode 1, if you guys saw my review for episode 1 of The Last of Us after it premiered, I said it was a picture-perfect adaptation of the beginning stages of the game, and I still stand by that. I mean, people, The biggest moment of the game when the game started was when we lost Sarah. And in this one episode, over over 80 minutes, they were able to not only recreate the feeling of the game, the tone and the characters and just certain moments, we also got basically what we all were wanting but also dreading, which was the recreation of that scene. Because that scene is what hooked us in to when we played The Last of Us for the first time, or the second time, or the 15th, or the 100th time. Seeing Sarah die in Joel's arms and Joel just crying buckets of tears, hugging her, it is still heartbreaking 11 years later, or 1 year later after the show's release. Then after that, we jump ahead 20 years, just like the game. But in the HBO show, we jumped ahead 20 years as if the show happened in, say, 2003. And we jumped ahead into the year 2023 when we were just coming off of the pandemic, and we were basically living in a world where the pandemic wasn't held under control, or just, just kept at a level, and it just went to crap. What do these two shows have in common? The performances and the music. Both of these two key aspects really captured how great these two shows are in their specific episodes. And honestly, thinking about it today, it's like, wow, 3 years ago, WandaVision, yeah, we were excited for it, but we didn't know what we were in for. And throughout the course of the show, it just took on a life of its own, to the point that arguably the MCU hasn't really managed to keep up that level of quality. For The Last of Us, we were all still questioning, okay, how good is The Last of Us going to be? Because we've had a plethora of video game adaptations that were all, yeah, there were nice hits, but yeah. But when The Last of Us premiered, when episode 1 premiered, like I said, picture perfect episode. And when the episode ended and we had that little 80s rock playing, which was code for trouble is on the horizon, to me, when the episode ended on that note, it was like, okay, we're in for something special. And throughout the course of the show, it was something special. Particularly episode 3. That was something else entirely. But the show overall is special. And I can't wait for season 2. And with Wanda, after WandaVision ended, we have Multiverse of Madness, which I enjoyed, amongst everybody else saying I enjoyed it. And I can't wait to see where we see Wanda next if she comes back. And folks, this was a great way to return to YouTube, because I wanted to highlight these two shows on their premiere days 3 years apart, and just highlight how great these shows were and why I enjoyed these shows and why I loved them. And folks, it's been a long time since I've said this. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe for more content. Make sure you comment down below what are your thoughts on WandaVision or The Last of Us and everything else. If you're new around here, and if you're true around here, make sure you subscribe to The Al Johnson Show and click the notification bell whenever new videos are released. That's all for today, guys. And remember, always remember, I've been Al Johnson and you're not. It feels good to say that again. And also, deuces.